Okay, I think my stream might have just got cut off at the beginning. So just in case it did, what I'm doing is basically adding in new action codes so that I can crouch and walk, because currently the move speed is a flat 3F, and I'm going to use this as modifiers. So I went ahead and changed some unused action codes, and now I'm going to make some changes to the motor. First thing I'm going to do is add a few constants. I think I'm actually just going to add one. Hello, Michael. I think walking and crouching will move you at, let's say 60% of the speed. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Multiplier to apply towards move rate when walking or crouching. All right, so as you can see, I'm not actually using that right now. And like I said before, the move rate's at a flat amount, so that's something I have to look at. So if I go down to my move method, another issue is that it's taking the move rate, which is serialized. However, since I am changing this to be a variable, I need to pass it into this method. And because I can sometimes roll back my character and the move rate will vary, I need to also pass that in from the user input move. So basically how this works, if you're new, is I store the input for the current fixed update, which can contain action codes like jumping, walking, crouching. And if those are in that input, then it will, for example, if you're jumping, it will jump, if you can jump, of course. And in this case, I need to pass in a new crouch and move if there is a crouch or move input. I'm just reading the comments real quick. Will you be syncing states or the action input, the network from the client to the server? No. So basically what I do is I build these user inputs which track all the states, and then I send that to the server, and the server makes sure that the states are valid so that they can be used. For example, you'll notice that says if action code processing is authoritative, which essentially means the server, then it's going to check if can jump. So that's your server authoritative on the jump, and if so, it calls jump. So the states are actually synchronized perfectly, one-to-one. The reason I have to store it on the client as well is because whenever the server responds back to the new position, it also includes an index to which was the last state it processed. And then the character rolls back to that index in time, and then it reapplies all of the inputs after that. So that way it doesn't just snap back every time the server sends a new thing, and it syncs itself up. And that's why I need to basically add the move rate, because that's going to be a variable value now. So I need to make sure that that's synced up during the rerolls as well. All right, so now I'm going to do float move rate, and this is telling me this is wrong because I need to drop in the input dot move rate. All right, so I'm going to change this from my serialized value and just change it over to that. And I think I need to add in another method here. Okay, yes, I don't know where I'm going to put this yet, so I'm just going to drop it here, and I will organize later. I'm going to do private float return move rate, and I'm going to take in action codes because that will ultimately determine the current move rate. Okay, so float move rate equals move rate. So I'm going to set it to default move rate. And then I'm going to do if action codes dot contains So this is essentially an enumerator. So I'm checking if it contains a certain value. Dot crouch or action codes dot contains action codes dot walk. Since they're both going to be the same speed, I'm going to say if it includes crouch or walk, then I'm going to apply that multiplier to the move rate. And that would be my, what did I call that? Crouch, walk, crouch percent. There we go. So basically, I'm going to call this with every input, and it's going to modify the move rate that I need to use into the move method. So let me go back up here. Okay, float move rate equals return move rate, and I'm going to do input dot action codes, and instead of actually passing in the move rate that is in the user input, I'm going to do it here. And I think that will be fine. Let me just check something real quick. Okay. I'm missing something. Yes, I need to add it to my inputs. So what I have for my jump input and my action code, this send inputs is actually in fixed update. So I have another loop inside update that checks if the jump key is pressed per frame, because if you're running a fixed update, you can of course skip frames, and you don't want to skip a key input. However, for things like crouch or walk, those are going to be keys that are held down, kind of like the directions. So I don't need to check that on a per frame basis. I can definitely do that in fixed update. So let me go ahead and do that now. Let's see, bool walking equals input dot get key, and usually what left shift is used for walking, and bool crouched equals input dot get key code dot left control. Okay, so now that I have those being read, I could just do if walking action codes, and this is basically adding on to the action codes. Can't you just pull in update and send in fixed update? Yes, I can. That's what I'm actually doing with the jump code. But since the walking and crouching are held keys and not key down, whereas with jump you press the key down, you can miss that between frames if you're running fixed update. But walking and crouch are going to require a persistent key being held, so I'm okay to run those in fixed update. That way I don't have to have another field like I do for jump. Okay, walking. Oops, nope. I got those backwards, didn't I? Okay, so crouch. So it happens when I try to multitask, when I read and type, and things just get messy. All right, so that's all set up. Let me just think real quick and see if I'm missing anything. I don't think I am. I probably am, but let me just do a build, and I'm going to test it out real quick. Actually, first I'm going to run as a client host. Okay, so let's see, I'm running. Okay, shift is working for walking on client host at least. And control is walking too, and the height's going to be the same because I don't actually have a crouch method, but I just wanted to hook up the movement speed. All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and do a build. No, client and server are both running in fixed update. And the reason the movement is so smooth is because I'm actually blending the movement in update, because I would definitely not want to run at 50 FPS on my movement because it's jittery. So I'm basically taking my inputs that I store and make in fixed update, and then I blend them in update. And it worked surprisingly well. I didn't think it would work that great, but it came out really good first try, so I'm happy with that. All right. So there I am. I'm walking, and I'm not stuttering around. I can see it's moving slower on the server, releasing walk, and I can see that it's moving faster. Okay, same for crouch, looks good. All right, yeah, that's working pretty solid. There is one more thing that I know I'm gonna have to do, so let me just do that real quick. This is working just fine so far. I will have to introduce lag to make sure it's working 100%, but it seems to be okay. Also, what I have to do is possibly take a look at this code. Where did I put that code? Let me look at my project real quick. I have some other code that basically syncs up the player for spectators, and it's replacing the network transform. However, I know that it won't work properly in this scenario, and that's because, let me find it, and I'll show you. That's because it moves, oh, you know what? I guess it will work. Because I thought I was passing in the move rate, but I didn't. I actually did it differently. So I think that'll work right out of the box. And I was thinking I was only passing in the move rate when catching the spectators up, in which case I'd have to somehow calculate that move rate on spectators as well, which means I'd have to be aware of the input, and that would just kind of not be fun at all, because that's just extra overhead that I really don't need. But this, however, does not rely on that, because somehow I came up with this, which works fine. I don't know how I did. I just did some math in my head and got lucky. I'm not very good at math, but every once in a while, I amaze myself. So I think this will work with spectators too. I'm going to go ahead and try real quick. Let me just get 2 builds up. Yeah, syncing the movement is not an easy task by any means. It took me, if you saw my second devlog video, it took me about 25 hours, and I generally work pretty quick, so 25 hours is a lot of time for me. And I'm pretty experienced at this stuff, so it's quite the headache. All right, so attempting to connect. Uh-oh, why is it not connecting? Let me try and restart the server. Well, that's weird. It was just working a second ago. Let me hit stop and then play again. Okay, well, that's weird. It was literally just working a second ago. Let me try a new build. I don't think I'm running, nope, I'm not running clumsy or anything. Server only, client. Okay, there we go. Maybe it was just a build. I don't know, that was kind of bizarre, but let me open up another one now. Okay, guy landed on my head. So I'm moving back, and it looks a little jittery because I'm not running VSync, and I talked about this last stream. It's like killing my computer. But if I, yeah, so if I'm holding shift now and walking back, it seems to be looking okay. I can actually see, again, I'm seeing stutter. I think that's because the VSync is not on, so it's taxing my computer. So I'm going to just make another quick build real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on VSync. So I'm going to do every second V-blink here, see if that's enough. All right, one build up, starting the server. Connecting the first client, it's in. Connecting the second client. Okay, so getting some really weird effects here, and I don't know what might be causing it. Let me try and close out the second client. This is kind of an unexpected behavior. What's going on is that it's actually moving really slow, like my shift key is held down, but it's definitely not held down. I'm going to stop the server and connect as a host real quick. Moving normal now. If I go back here and I connect as a client, and okay, something is up. I wonder if it's because I turned on VSync. I don't know why that would cause things to misbehave like that, but we'll see. I'll turn it right back off. Actually, I'm going to open the build real quick as is, and I'm going to try it again just to make sure. I can already tell it's running slower, like things like he's falling slower and stuff. Like it's running fine on the other version, I can see that much, but it's not jumping at the right height either. So okay, so question, is this because of VSync count? Let's find out. And if so, I think I know why that might be happening. Let me go ahead and turn that off real quick and do another build. And look, it's moving normal again. Okay, so it's definitely because of VSync. And a lot of people, when they run into issues, and I'll admit fully, I still get like this sometimes, I immediately blame the game engine. But I'm fairly sure this is my code. And I think the reason of that is because in my user input, I am sending the frame, and that's essentially an index so that whenever the server processes it, it will send back the frame that it processed, and I'll roll back to that frame and so on. However, also in my code, I have if time.frameCount is the same as the last frame I just sent. So if I sent input on frame 50, for example, and this current frame is also 50, then exit the method. This can occur if you have a really low FPS, and I don't want to send inputs twice because, as you know, fixed update can sometimes run twice if your FPS is not doing so great. However, since I'm running vertical sync, I have a feeling it's forcing this to be true. So the solution, I suppose, is to first try and adjust this. But before I do, I'm going to make a backup. So I'm going to do that real quick off screen. Backup. Added crouch and walking. Let's see. Free user input frame index change. Okay. Submit and push. I strongly encourage you to back up regularly. You never know when you're going to break something. All right, so last sent frame, that needs to be changed from an integer to a double. And I guess I can keep that at -1. That's probably fine. And if I go back to the motor, I'm going to, instead, using the frame count, I'm going to use the network time, and then I'm going to use the current time. And I imagine this would be the same if it called twice and fixed update. I'd have to test that, but for right now, I'm going to make sure that this fixes the problem. Now I need to go to my user input. I need to change this to a double. I'm going to rename it real quick, network time. This actually could work in my favor in 2 ways, and I'll talk about that in a second once I get all these changed over. All right, so I'm probably going to have a few errors here. Yep. Okay, so this is the input result. This is where I was talking about that the server sends the data back. And I need to change this. This is my custom serializer. I store some extra data in the user input that's for client only, and I don't really want to flood the network with that stuff since I don't particularly need it. So that's what I have this here for. Okay. All right, so all the errors are gone. Let me just let that compile real quick. All right, didn't yell at me, so that's good. And I guess I could test it. Oh, and before I forget, because I will forget if I don't tell you now, the reason I think I can use the network time to my advantage is I can make sure that first the client can't send a network time that's less than the most recent network time. This is mostly for preventing packet spoofing, so if they try to send things twice. And also I can make it so that they can't send a network time in the future of the current server network time, ultimately doing the same thing. And since I know they send at a fixed update, I can compare the differences in network time, and if they are not at that fixed update interval or very close, then I know something fishy is going on. So this could have multiple uses for that. So I guess let's test that code out. Before I do, I'm going to hit play and run it as a client host, which I don't think I'm going to see any difference. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to do a build again. Okay, I'm not worried about that error. It's just because I hit stopped in the middle. Okay, server only. You know what? I think I forgot to change it to vblank again, but whoa, whoa, whoa. What just happened? That's not good. That was super bad. All right, so this is going to be something that is a thing. So I'm gonna run this one as a server, and I'm going to run this one as a client. And before I do though, I'm going to take a look exactly at what is referencing this to see what I did that could possibly break that, because that shouldn't have happened. Well, that is bizarre. Okay, let me find out what could be going on. First, I'm going to see if it redoes that in the... Yeah, I know. I haven't got around to doing that yet. And another thing, if I do it that way, then what will happen basically is I'll have to shrink the window, and it might just be hard to work with. I'm pretty sure this error didn't come up until after I just made that change. Oh, maybe it did, and I just wasn't really paying attention. Okay, so if object equals null, then return. That'll fix that error. That's completely normal. So I need to find out why my guy is going crazy. That was an unexpected result, and definitely a bug. So let's see what we can do about that real quick. I'm going to assume it's probably the rollback. So first thing I'm going to do is put a stop to that. This is the server authoritative movement basically that rolls the client back and then reapplies the positions which have been sent since. Okay, so it's definitely something related to that. Why though? What could it possibly be? Okay, so this is returning 0 every time. So I have a theory of what's going on. Basically, what this does is, like I said, the server sends back an index and the client rewinds to that index and then applies an input after it. However, this is printing out 0, which indicates it's not finding that index, which means I did not serialize correctly. So if I go over here, yep, here it is. I changed this to write double, but this is read int. So I screwed up. Let me just change this. And I'm thinking that will fix it. Oh, that did not fix it. Nope. It's definitely got to be something related to this though. I almost guarantee it. That's the only thing that makes sense. However, I'm pretty sure network time is supposed to be a double. I still think it's something in my serializer, so I'm going to just quickly comment this out. And I'm probably going to have to do another build as well. I'm going to let Mirror create the serializer for me. Looks like this stream's probably going to be a tiny bit longer than expected because I was not planning on encountering any bugs in this, but I've already encountered 2, so that's just how it goes. Yep, so I got rid of my serializer and Mirror's doing it for me now. Part of that reason why I wrote my own is because I don't need to send the move rate and I don't need to send the position right now. But I isolated the problem. I will fix it later. for now, I will call it good. So let me go ahead and turn on the VSync again. And let me do another build. Also, one thing I'm not sure of, I don't know if the VSync settings run in the editor. I want to say they do. I'm pretty sure they do, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, so movement speed's back to normal, and I have the VSync on every other frame. So if I open up another build, I think it'll be okay. Connect that as a client, and let me just move around. Oh, I get stuck on a cone. Yeah. This is looking really good now. All right, so I'm gonna aim this character up. I'm gonna just kind of click here. Oh, darn it. There we go. You know what, close enough. I don't know where he's aiming, over here, I think. Okay, so now I'm going to run forward, hold shift. I'm moving shift and it's going slower as expected. I'm going to release it and I'm at full speed again. Same thing, but with the crouch key, and yeah, everything seems to be working. Okay, great. So we ran into two problems, but knocked them out pretty quick. So I need to, I guess I just need to really fix my serializer, and I'm good to go on that. And since I put in the crouch movement speed reduction, which feels like it might be a little too fast. I'm not really sure on that, but that doesn't really matter. So since I put in a speed reduction, I'm probably going to also put in a crouch mechanic. I don't know if I'm going to do that right away, though. I might hold off on that. Wow, there is some noticeable difference between how quickly it catches up when I'm using VSync. So I guess that's another thing I need to consider, huh? If you look and I jump up, it's noticeably behind, and I feel like that's probably part of my smoothing script. Although, if that is part of the smoothing script, I'm not super concerned about it, because I did say I would probably be replacing that at a later time. I'm going to just change that to don't sync real quick, make sure that took. And I'm going to do one more build just to make sure, and I'll probably call it a wrap. Hey, I'm just about to end this stream. It's pretty short though. You're more than welcome to watch it through. I'll keep it unlisted. The link will still be good, but I have to just clip the beginning and the end, and then before I can make it public. All right, so testing one more time. All right. Scoot out a little bit. It's still a little behind, so it might not be the VSync thing, and I don't think it's any of the new code I put in either. Like, that's perfect. Maybe it's the move rate code. Darn it. Now I have to go check that. I can't leave something unfinished. At the very least, I'm going to see if I can isolate it super quick, and either way, I'm going to call it after that. So let's see. Okay. Just check out where this is called. And if that's wrong, then I know where to start. Because it only seems to be desyncing in the air. which makes me think that it's probably something to do with the move rate. Oh, that's actually pretty normal. That's actually behaving properly. I'm trying to resize my window. This is why I don't want to run 2 editors. It's kind of annoying. Okay, server. There we go. Yeah, so that's a little behind still. I don't know if I've just never noticed it before or if this is something new. So I'm going to back up my changes, and then off camera I'm going to roll back, and if this is still present, then I would say it's probably maybe always been a thing. So I'm going to check that out, and I will let you all know next update. And thanks for watching.